Yeah, let's go.
Just the two I've been waiting for. Excellent work, by the way.
Hey, got those burner phones ready?
Of course I do. Who do you think I am?
I still don't fully get what's going on. Yagami-san, what are we gonna do with these?
Okay, I'll break it down. First, we call Kawana on one phone. Let's say this one here. Then we use this other phone to call Reiko Kusamoto. Using them that way. The phones won't be connected to each other, but their voices will be relayed so they can talk normally.
Oh, okay. And then?
If public security finds out Reiko Kusamoto's talking to Kawana, they'll trace the call and we can see exactly who they send without risk of being seen ourselves.
Surely you don't intend to do that here, do you? That would put a beacon on us for Kawana-san's enemies.
Yeah, we'll do it somewhere remote. We need a place where and it's gotta have a good vantage point.
There's a building. It's late, so no one should be around that may get involved.
Where is it?
It's right near Seirio High. There's a crane by the river, too.
Okay, you two stay put.
You sure?
Let me at least put out a drone, Yagami-shi. I'll use it to capture the faces of Kawana.
This must be the construction site Tsukumo was talking about.
This is Tsukumo. Yagami-shi, I've confirmed your position.
Yeah. I think I can spot whoever comes close from here. I'm gonna call Kawana on the burner now.
Understood. It's Kawana.
You ready? I'm about to call Reiko Kusamoto.
It's been 5 years since I last spoke to her.
Yeah.
I know.
Can't...
Yes, hello?
This is Kitakata, from Kurakawa Academy.
What?
You'll have to forgive me for this, but the position I'm in required me to reach out to you. I would never have done this otherwise. I should also note, there's a high probability this phone call is being tapped.
I see. Very well, then.
It's been 13 years, Kusumoto-san.
So it has.
Kitakata-sensei. I've read about your accomplishments. To think you'd become a vice minister.
You never really know how things are going to work out.
But that's not true at all, Kusumoto-san. You were always destined to move up in the world. I've got to be honest with you. A woman as virtuous and as capable as you deserves the world and then some.
But how is Mitsuru-kun?
I'm afraid he's still asleep. Nothing's changed.
I see. I wish I had the words.
What is it you wanted?
If you've been watching the news, you probably already heard. I've become a prime suspect for a crime. They think I murdered Yokosawa in her apartment.
I've heard.
Obviously, it wasn't me who killed her, of course. Do you happen to remember Sawa-kun by any chance?
The girl from your class. She was the only one of those students who ever came to visit Mitsuru. But even then, that's been at least 10 years now. I got a letter from her once. She wanted to tell me she'd become a teacher. But I never did reply. And that was the last I'd heard from her.
I see.
So back to my question. What do you want?
I hope you weren't planning to ask me for a favor. I'm afraid the answer would be no.
No, it's not that. It's just... I wanted to let you know that at some point, someone may come to you to ask a few questions about me. I thought I should give you a heads up. I'll make every effort to ensure they won't cause any trouble for you, Kusumoto-san. I'm sorry about this. I'll try to handle it from my side.
So in your opinion then, do you believe anything related to you could cause me any trouble?
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll be just fine.
We're almost to the signal. Kill the headlights.
2 cars inbound. Looks like we were right on the money. This proves Reiko Kusumoto's phone is compromised. And if there's one organization capable of tracing a call and moving on it, it's gotta be public security on the hunt for Kawana.
Public security is really coming straight to you by car?
No. There's no way they can mobilize their people that quickly. My guess, it's gotta be the prefectural police that they've got in their pocket. Or it's just RK.
I will say it's been great to hear your voice again. But this should be the last time you ever hear from me. I'll try my best.
I understand. Goodbye.
Hey, look. It's a drone. It has a phone attached to it. Shoot it! Shoot it down!
You sure?
Just take it down! Hurry it up! Hey! What the fuck are you aiming at?
I can't hit it! It's too small! Shit!
Damn, dude. How the hell are we supposed to chase down a drone? And where the fuck is this Kawana guy?
Who knows, man? They called us in to catch this shithead, but how the hell are we supposed to do that? It's fucked up. Do we look like spec ops?
Yeah, right. But at least you gotta shoot that thing.
This is my second time, actually. I took a few shots at some kids in a park. I aimed at the ground and sent those little shits running for their lives.
We're done here. Pack it in.
That's 6 punks and only 1 gun between you by my count.
Who the fuck are you?
It was you guys in charge. I'm sure Kawana would have had this whole thing solved a long time ago. Well, then again, I suppose I do have to give you credit for how fast you made it here.
That was my gun, asshole!
Who's the one giving the orders? You may as well just level with me. You guys are RK's bottom rung, right?
It sounds like you must know Kawana. Well, I guess we're not gonna be leaving here empty-handed after all. Come on! We're taking this guy in, boys! Fuck him up!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Who sent you here?
The order came from the head honchos in Ark.
You mean Soma?
Not that high up. It was one of the bosses. They just said to catch him. Well, they also made it like we'd pulled the trigger. We never even heard what our cut...
Tell me, gentlemen, how would you feel if you found out you were just pawns in public security's?
We're playing what game?
I suggest you quit RK while you can. Go tell your buddies. Otherwise, they'll keep you in the dark, use you, and toss you aside. You'll end up in a ditch there's no crawling.
Yes?
Pardon me. You would be Reiko Kusamoto, correct?
Sir, it's a little late for this. And how'd you get in here in the first place? I've expressly forbid having visitors.
Come now. I'm a coordinator with the National Police Bureau, but I'm sure you're familiar with my Division of Public Security. Bondo is my name, ma'am.
Are you now? Well, I'm afraid coordinator is rather vague.
I have a more public-facing title as well, of course. But I'm trying to be discreet here, so let's not get bogged down with minor details. It's in our best interests. I'm afraid that won't help. I've already seen to that.
What is this?
There's a question I need answered with some urgency, Kusamoto-san. It concerns the disappearance of a certain individual.
Huh.
About 5 years ago, a man vanished off the streets of Kamurocho. I'm sure you'll recognize him. A former classmate of Mitsuru-kun here, Shinya Kawai. I believe there are things you might know. I can say that with some level of certainty, as a matter of fact.
A shadow looms over Yagami and Kuwana. Japan's National Intelligence Agency, Public Security, fixes its gaze on Reiko Kusamoto of the Ministry of Health. 5 years ago, Kuwana prompted her to take revenge on Shinya Kawai for pushing her son to the brink. Secrets can only lie dormant so long, and upon their waking, chaos ensues.
You've done it again, Tsukumo. Can't believe you found it.
I figured Mitsuru Kusamoto would be in one of the better hospitals around the health ministry. That narrowed it down to just a few locations.
And that led you to Toto University Hospital.
Yep. Reiko Kusamoto has been visiting her son every night. If you gentlemen want to meet her in person...
Yagami, you seriously think you can convince...
Well...
She's at the top of the food chain. If it comes out...
If they hadn't tried to hide it, nobody else would have needed to pay for it.
Yeah.
And if she confesses to killing Kawhi, so in theory, that should free up the police to pursue Soma.
Totally agree with you.
But Kawana-san's against that, right? Didn't he say?
Yeah. That's why he's not.
So, you're just gonna show up? You do know...
Just means we gotta be prepared for that. Like the
Prepared? How?
Just leave it to us.
Got it.
See ya.
So what do you need from me in the...
Got any old acquaintances in RK? Think you can find out where Soma and Akatsuki...
You forget who you're talking to? I knew a few ex-Tojo guys who go in and out of RK on the...
Thanks. Watch your back. They find out your spot...
I'll be ready. Like the professional...
He's rough around the...
Yeah. Turns out he's got extra...
Why don't you hire him at your office?
I'll talk about that with Kaito-san once he recovers.
Why start apologizing?
Really, guys?
Irashaimase. Arigatou gozaimasu.
What are you? Don't worry. I'll give it back to you after this. I'm sure it's bugged, and we wouldn't want anyone listening in now, would we?
We'll take a few laps around the block, and then drop you back off at the hospital. Sorry, but we just need a bit of your time.
Very well. Who are you people?
We're just local detectives, but Kitakata-sensei is an acquaintance of ours. We know about Mitsuru-kun, and we know that 5 years ago, a man named Shinya Kawai mysteriously disappeared and died.
I have no idea what you're saying.
But you do. I know how this must come across right now, so I assure you, we aren't the ones posing a threat.
Fine. What is it you want, then?
All I want is the truth. In your own words. About Shinya Kawai, and how you carried out his murder.
You're mistaken. I didn't do it.
The other day you received a call from Kitakata-sensei, didn't you? He goes by the name Kawana now, and works as a handyman in Ijincho. He made that call because we needed to confirm something.
Confirm what?
Whether or not you were being watched by public security.
Public security, you say?
As it turns out, you are. Your cell phone is bugged. It can even use GPS to trace who's on the other end of the line. That kind of trace is only possible with cooperation from the cellular providers. Unless you're public security, who could pull something like that off, and they want to hit you where you're vulnerable. And that's what you are now after Kawana. Do you understand, Kusamoto-san? You must really be something special. You were never in this job for yourself. It fell into your lap as your predecessors fell like dominoes. That's why you don't owe anyone anything. You're free of constraints. Combine all that with a capable bureaucrat like you, there's no telling what you could accomplish. You're cleaning up house, tackling the revolving door problems. Things you know are the right moves, but with no regard for the consequences. I understand even the cabinet gauges your opinion, since you have so much, but I think that's also made you some enemies. Most likely whoever's holding
I have more than and I have no doubt public security would comply with them. To be quite frank, public security, the establishment is made up of various powers which control politics, and naturally each branch has its own agenda, which leads to all sorts of issues and hindrances, which you call constraints. The more individuals who make up society, the more unavoidable that is.
Are you implying it's public security's job to loosen those constraints?
The world we live in requires all kinds of value systems, but if you loosen the constraints too far, the fall of the state is inevitable. In that regard, public security's role is to stabilize and maintain the state. In other words, the constraints of these powers, so the fact that I am not caught up in all that does, indeed, make me something of a
pesky foreign to these establishment people. You're something to be
I guess there's bullying among adults in high places, too.
Yeah. Now we know why they were looking for any kind of weakness, and that's when they turned the spotlight on Shinya Kawai's disappearance. An event that was triggered by Akihiro Ihara's case. You know the one, I presume.
Yes.
An active duty policeman exacted revenge on the bully who drove his son to suicide. Your enemies must have heard that and thought to themselves, what would Reiko Kusamoto have done to her son's bully? I'm guessing that's what prompted public security to make their move. As the details of Ahara's case came to light, a group of thugs calling themselves RK started looking for Shinya Kawai, all to find out that he was kidnapped 5 years ago, probably killed.
I never did anything out of revenge.
Even after finding out Kawai disappeared, public security still had to verify it. But if they found out you were involved, that'd be a win for them.
How long?
As public security figured out, the bullying cases involving Toshiro Ihara and your son, that link being Sawa-sensei. She was Mitsuru-kun's classmate and Toshiro Ihara's teacher. Not only that, she was also linked to Ihara's murder victim, Mikoshiba. She was his master teacher. So, not long after the murder, RK came to Ijincho and broke into... That must have been when they got Kawana's name out of her. I think Sawa-sensei suspected that Kawana was involved, and Soma steps in. With his professional and Kusamoto-san, you knew she was killed, right? Kawana should have told you...
Wait, are you... not one of his colleagues? He said he wouldn't cause me any trouble.
Kawana and I are competitors on a temporary ceasefire. We're not colleagues. Has anybody from public security contacted you?
I have my suspicions.
What are their names? I imagine what they wanted was to exploit your weakness. Because if all they wanted was to eliminate you, some kind of...
Yes.
Do you have any idea what these people are after? And do you mind sharing?
What they want is control of the pension fund, which is under the Health Ministry's jurisdiction.
Pension fund?
An independent agency within the ministry manages the national...
What?
And certain groups want to take bigger risks with that money in order to generate more profit. In other words, they want the Health Ministry to use... They believe that's the only way to rebuild and secure the future of this country.
I mean...
Of course. If we lost the gamble, then we wouldn't be able to guarantee anything for the citizens of this country in their goal. That's why the Health Ministry manages those funds conservatively. Even if...
Okay.
You do? Don't leave me on the dump.
To be able to gamble all this taxpayer money to save the economy, they need a change. And here's Kusamoto-san, head of the office. And she's beyond the control. Her position has the power to take action, to override the way the pension fund is managed. But not only does Kusamoto-san have the power, if a new vice minister were to try it, they'd be stopped cold by the constraints.
So that's why they wanted to find her weakness and
Exactly. And if the 160 trillion yen gamble were to fail, they could...
Okay.
I'm guessing they've already contacted you about it?
That's an...